the best way to handle frustrations is to ask questions. Always ask questions. Don't make statement. Hello everyone. Today we will talk about how to avoid conflict escalation in your marriage, how it starts and how to avoid letting it get out of control.
We heard these 5 steps from Dev and Ashley Willis and we really like them. So let's talk about them. Often every conflict has the potential to escalate, but you need to watch out for these 5 steps.
Yes.
For it not to get out of control.
Of control, yes. Yeah. And the first one is frustration.
Ooh, frustration.
Every conflict begins with frustration.
Yes.
And frustration can be a simple thing like your spouse does something you don't like and you just feel something. You ask me to pass by the shops and bring you something and I show up without it. Or you gave me all the details of the things that I need to bring to you and sense. I forgot to do it. It is my responsibility to always check a particular bill and I forgot to pay it. Or you ask me to take the trash outside and I forgot. That can be frustrating. Yeah. It can be as simple as that. You may not be angry yet. You're just frustrated.
Let's continue to the second one. So which one is the step that comes after frustration that you need to watch?
After frustration is false assumptions. So once you're frustrated, you start to assume why they did what they did. So you begin to assume and give yourself reasons, or they just don't care about me. They just don't care about this house. Look, I'm doing everything alone.
So we're talking about a couple that love each other.
Yes.
They have a good relationship, because sometimes those assumptions are not necessarily false. Sometimes if there's a relationship that's pretty rocky, if you assume that that person doesn't care about you, that's true, because they really don't care about you, because you've seen so many things they've done that doesn't show that they care about you. But now we're talking about this couple that they love each other.
Yes.
They committed to each other.
Yes.
They are working on their journey as a couple.
That's exactly what we are talking about.
Good.
We are talking about a conflict that is not yet escalated. How it starts and how to avoid from getting there.
Beautiful.
Okay, so if your conflict is not yet escalated, the first step will be frustration. The second step will be false assumptions. Because you'll start to assume why they did what they did, and the enemy will try to give you ideas, and he doesn't care, or she doesn't care, or he doesn't love me the way he used to before, or like just so many things from that one mistake. And this happens on both sides, because if you are frustrated and you are starting to show your frustration or your assumptions, it causes sometimes the other side also to start assuming. Because sometimes the other side that you are frustrated about doesn't know why you're frustrated.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't remember that they didn't take the trash outside, or they don't remember that they didn't pay the bill. Maybe they don't remember, but you've already built your case inside your mind. And you started to act on it, and you started to show your frustration, and they also start to assume that.
They start to assume what is going on, and if they don't talk to you about that, it becomes the same. They're doing the same thing that you are doing. So if they're if they're seeing a change in their partner or in their spouses, they're like, what's going on? Is everything
exactly
okay? So they start to assume.
And if you don't talk about those false assumptions, they keep building up. And that will lead us to the third stage, which is fighting. You see, you don't just start fighting unless you are crazy. Wake up in the morning, is that fighting. You often fight because your assumptions or your frustration led to assumption, and your assumption got out of control. You start fighting. But fighting is, you need to be careful when we talk about fighting, because people think fighting is only when you say things or you do things. Fighting can be even an absence of doing.
You can fight without saying anything
Exactly,
or doing anything.
exactly. Some people will fight with words, so they will get aggressive with their words to hurt you because they're already frustrated and they're already assuming. So now they get really aggressive with their words.
Yeah.
Some people will fight with actions. They will throw stuff at you, or they will even hit you. But some people will not even physically touch you, but they are really fighting with silence. They're not going to say anything to you because they've assumed things. So you're being punished. In fact, fighting is a punishment. It's like you're giving to people what they deserve, like the justice, the punishment you think they deserve. And you can spend months or years under each one of these. You can spend years under frustration. You can spend years under false assumptions.
Yeah.
You can spend years under fighting.
And the next one is fatigue, is it?
Yes. Fatigue is the fourth one. Nobody wants to stay forever in a fighting situation.
Yeah.
Every fight leads to fatigue if you don't deal with it. Even if it's a silence treatment, it leads to fatigue.
So what you're calling fatigue is the lack of willingness to fight, or not lack of.
You've had enough.
You've had enough.
Yes.
You just want out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've had enough.
You
Like
out.
once you've had enough, you feel like maybe you don't want out, but you just don't know what to do
the
anymore.
The situation is hopeless now.
Yes.
Because it's escalated so much.
Yes.
That it feels like this cannot be fixed.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That is fatigue now. Fatigue is when you feel like this can't be fixed. This is not just fighting with words. Silence can be tiring.
Yeah.
After fatigue, it leads to fantasy. So fatigue leads to fantasy.
So you start finding ways to cope with the situation.
Yes.
That is kind of like an escape. This is hopeless. Therefore, I'm just gonna move my mind and my everything to here. Yeah.
And this is dangerous because this is when you are tired of fighting in your marriage, you start to find people outside of your marriage a little bit kind and beautiful and attractive and so your
computer becomes really beautiful.
And
friendly. It's true. I was hearing someone. It's true. I was hearing someone who was saying, your phone. You
love your phone so much. No, you don't love your phone. You know what we are talking about.
Yeah.
So
I was hearing someone saying today that they were married to the army.
Yes.
It's like, that was their escape. Anyway,
And it doesn't have to be necessarily going into sexual stuff.
Yeah.
It can be even just another distraction that you bring. It can be
an amazing
news,
escape.
TV, or sports, or some people use even church as an escape.
Drive.
Yes,
like drive.
You can find another fantasy that is not necessarily sexual, a scene outside of your marriage. You run from your marriage and you find that thing.
So instead of working on your marriage, instead of trying to fix things, instead of trying to find a solution, you're like, you know what, this is hopeless.
Yes.
I don't want trouble. I don't want to this. Let's just.
You find an escape.
Escape.
Yes, you escape into something, and everyone does this differently. But it can also lead to sinful escapes. It can lead to drinking. It can lead to anything, emotional cheating or affairs. Like people can start finding comfort into other people outside of your marriage. You start to confide into other people who are kind to you. You start to
you think
you think they are kind to you. And that can lead really to a bad place because you start to attach more to those people outside of your marriage. That is fantasy. So you start to exchange some text and you feel like it's giving you more joy or more happiness or more, you see.
Yeah, I agree.
So that place is when you are already at a place of fantasizing, your marriage is about to go to a bad place. You've reached a really dangerous.
Tiny hopeless?
Yes, very.
It's hard to recover from there. It's really hard. It's going to take the deeper the hole gets, the harder it is to come out of there.
Yes.
So it's best to watch for the first steps, you know.
It's not bad to dream, but when you start to dream about yourself without your spouse, when you start to fantasize life without your spouse, that is dangerous. You start to fantasize about another man being the father of your children and how good they are with their children, or another woman being the mother of your children and how lovely they are. You know, you start to fantasize. You need to dream life without your spouse. Yeah. That is a dangerous place to be, because now your head is kind of erasing them. You are erasing them. You can do anything from that place. You can do anything from that place and you will justify it. Because in your head, they don't exist anymore. If you have reached that place, there is always grace. So you can always turn from any stage. You can always turn.
And so how do we do that? So how do we avoid escalation? So how do we go back to healthy?
You need to begin with repentance, because on a fantasy, you have also contributed in the problem. Even though what you suspected was true, and yes, they were not good to you, but because you're already into the fantasy, you've also contributed to make things worse. You begin by repentance to God, and then find help. You know what? You need to surround yourself with people who speak truth and wisdom to you. Because when you are in that land of fantasy, you will give yourself reasons why you are doing it. So you need to have people you are open to accountability. Very important. People who can tell you, I think what you are doing is wrong.
And that needs to start at the beginning of everything.
Yes. Stage 4. If you are on the fatigue level, they always say that don't trust your tired self. Never trust your tired self.
Yeah.
Find help. That is the right time to find people, because you can't trust yourself anymore when you are tired. You know, when you are tired, find someone. So if you're tired, two of you trust. Yes.
You're tired. You didn't have people before.
Yes, this is the time to find someone.
This is the time to find people.
To find help. If you are tired in your marriage, and we define what tired means. If you are in that season of fatigue, that means you are not thinking properly anymore.
So at every stage, you can find help.
Yes.
At every stage, you can find help.
But at this stage...
But at this one,
don't
the
trust
fatigue,
yourself.
It's a must.
Yes, it's a recommendation. It's a must, yeah.
Not even a recommendation. It's a must. My friend, you are in trouble.
I agree with you.
People.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so find people who you can trust.
Yes.
Be willing to hear the truth. Because...
Yes.
You can have people around you who are willing to tell you the truth, and you won't hear the truth.
Yes.
So that's if you want to get out of there, you will have to be willing to hear the truth.
Yes.
Because the truth doesn't necessarily sound nice.
Yeah.
But it's important. It's the truth.
And I want to make this clear. If you are already tired, that means there are steps that you missed. There are things that were not addressed. So at this stage, if you're already tired, you have to be willing to hear someone telling you what you did wrong in the previous stage. So, and accept it. Both of you need to sit down and find help. Both of you need to sit down and listen and be open to accountability. Yes. Now, let's go back to the fighting stage. If you are in a fighting stage, because this may happen, you need to remember that there is no winner in fighting in marriage. It doesn't matter who is right or wrong. Whenever there is a fight in marriage, we both lose. Both of you lose. It can be a silence fight. It can be whatever. It can be aggressive words or aggressive actions. There is no winner. So if you are in a fighting stage, stop it. When I say stop it, it sounds like a command or something.
So but when you say stop it, you assume they have the ability to stop it?
What I assume that you are good people, both of you. You are good people. So I'm assuming that you are just fighting because of false assumptions.
Yeah. So
Remember, hey, what are you doing?
Wake up.
Everybody gets hurt when you fight. There is no winner in fighting in marriage. It's not like, oh, I was right and she saw it. I proved to her. It doesn't work like that in marriage. Marriage, every time you fight, both of you get hurt somehow.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you victory. You leave. If that is the case, if you leave a fight in your marriage feeling that you won, you have an issue. You have an issue because the person you love, you have to celebrate them, not win over them. You need to make them...
It's a journey you're working together. Not one against the other. So, and that works even when there's a conflict. Yeah, that's true. Even when there's a conflict, you're still on the journey together. You can still walk that journey together without necessarily winning over each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, everybody gets hurt when you fight. So talk about why you are fighting, not how you were treated, but why you were treated that way.
Yeah.
Both of you need to talk about it. Yeah. Why did you do this? Why did you forget this? Why did you, Not
necessarily why did you do it. You can say, when I asked you to do this and this and this, you didn't do it.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but it made me feel this way. Therefore, I just wanted to ask you, are you aware that
exactly?
Oh, babe. Like that? Or, to kind of, because
you are a true counselor. I respect that.
That's not judgmental.
Yes.
And it allows the other person to be able to have the opportunity. That means you're allowing them the opportunity to tell you why.
Yes.
And they might say, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I don't remember. I completely forgot.
Yes.
That's what we would hope. That will be the answer.
Yes.
And then, fix it. But I was going to say as well, on this fighting stage, it's important to still have people have help around.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Help around. All those stages, we can't emphasize enough to have people who have walked that journey before.
Yeah.
It saves you a lot, and just to be humble enough to say, okay, I'm gonna talk to someone who's maybe have gone through this journey.
Yes.
Longer
before
than me.
You. Yeah.
Do you know someone who has gone into the journey wrongly and has failed?
They have something
to teach you.
Yeah.
About things that you don't want to do.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the fighting.
Fighting.
Everybody gets hurt when you fight. Yeah. Don't think you are a winner because you made them feel something or see something. Always make sure you stop the fighting as quick as possible. But before you get to fighting, there is false assumption. One sentence I can recommend in false assumption is always assume the best. Because we are wired to assume the worst.
It's really hard to always assume the best.
Yes.
Oof. Yeah.
To create a culture of trust in marriage, you have to intentionally assume the best. It is hard. It is hard to assume the best.
I'm telling you.
Because when someone does something you don't like or says something you don't like, you give your head will give yourself the reasons why they did it. And often those reasons will not be like, or they just misspoke, or they just they didn't know what they said, or it was a mistake, or they forgot. No, that's not what comes first to my mind. What will come first is they don't care about me. Or I'm doing everything in this house. I've become their slave. Or now it's only me. It's always me.
It's really a work of the Holy Spirit.
Assuming the best is the hardest thing in a relationship. But assuming the best is possible, and it's like the backbone of trust.
It's almost like you have to decide to assume the best from the very beginning.
Yes.
Like before even there's anything. Wow. You know what? I think that's the first thing that you should be taught in the marriage counseling before you get married.
Assuming the best.
Assuming the best. If you're sure you chose the right partner or spouses.
Yes, we are assuming that you are just common, normal people, ordinary people living your life. You love Jesus. Yeah. You are all both trying to please Jesus in your marriage. You better assume the best and discover that the person did exactly the opposite of what you assumed, than assuming the worst and discover they didn't do it. So how do you do that? If you assume the best, you will go with the right question. You know, you will go with a positive tone. You will go and ask, I realized that you did not take the trash outside. Did you forget? Or what happened? I realized that you did not give me a hug yesterday. Or I realized that it's been a week since I waited for you to do this or to do that. Like, you go with a positive tone because you're assuming the best. There might be something we haven't talked about that is causing this to happen. And we also assume that the person on the other side will tell the truth. So we are assuming that you are both Christians. Like, the other person will not lie to you. If there is lies, then you have bigger issues to deal with. That is not just these 5 steps. Like, something is really wrong fundamentally in your marriage that you need to deal with. We are talking to a couple that both of you love Jesus and both of you want the best for your marriage. You love each other.
Yeah.
Assuming the best will shape the temperature of your conversation. It will shape the atmosphere of your conversation. Even when you confront the person, you will have a better tone because you assumed the best. So that is on the false assumption level. That's how you solve it. Always assume the best. That will create a culture of trust. And the first stage, so we went backward to avoid, the first stage is frustration. I don't think you can avoid frustration as a human being. No. I don't think you can live a life frustration proofed. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think you can avoid frustration. Yeah. But the best way to handle frustrations is to ask questions. Always ask questions. Don't make statement when you are frustrated, because the statements that we make are judgmental. Often when you are frustrated and you make a statement, you will judge the person. You always forget to take the trash outside.
Always is very, very important.
How many times am I going to tell you?
Yeah.
So, but ask positive questions.
Did you forget to
take the trashes outside? We assume again that both of you are willing. You are both willing and loving.
Yeah. Like, remember what the episode, I don't remember exactly, but the episode before this one, we were talking about being intentional.
Yes.
So the intentionality, we assume it's there already.
Yes.
And so this is like spicing it up a little bit when the conflict, there's a conflict that you cannot, there's no way to not have conflict on this planet Earth, especially. Will always happen. If you're a human being.
And you're living together every day. And so frustration will always happen.
A human being that lives together with another human being.
Yes.
There's always going to be.
No, I'm an angel. So you can live with me without any problem. A human being that lives with an angel.
But it's fine. But a human being that lives with a human being. You are an angel. It's because, think about it. Like, you are going to be frustrated.
You will be frustrated with each other.
So we have a battle plan. We are trying to create a battle plan.
Yes.
For that, when it happens, this is how you go about it.
Ask positive questions, not ironic questions, not traps, not sarcastic questions. Ask positive questions.
Sometimes frustration can be to the point where you feel like you're not ready to talk.
Yeah.
So I think give yourself a bit of a space, or sometimes to pray. Thank you, Jesus, for prayer.
Yes.
To sometimes to pray, and there in that moment that you can find the right words, because in the moment you might not have the right words to speak, or even you don't, because you're frustrated.
Yes.
And so find sometimes a space where you can just go before God and be like, help me. And God will give you the right words to use to your spouse. Yeah. It works.
It does.
You find the right words and it works. And when you speak to your spouse, you realize, okay, so this is what would have.
Yeah, you could have said it differently or negatively, but God gives you the right words. And maybe one more thing I would add to this is try not to escalate quickly, because some people will move from frustration to fighting. So they will just... At the same time, they're being frustrated, and I know it's funny. I know it's funny, but it happens. You are being frustrated, and at the same time, you are making those false assumptions, and at the same time, you are fighting without even processing. It's just frustration, assumption, and and fight at the same time.
Yeah. Do you think it goes with personality though?
I think so. Some people are short-tempered. I don't know if I can call it personality, or I can just lack of self-control, fruit of the spirit. Or maybe, we need to grow. You need to grow in that area before you get to fight. Allow yourself time to process your frustration so it doesn't lead to false assumption. And if you found yourself under false assumption, at least make sure it doesn't escalate into fighting. And each step can be stopped.
Yes.
Each step can be reversed.
Step. Yeah.
And the sooner you reverse a step, the better.
Yeah.
You don't wait until. Remember, you love each other, and nobody wins in a fight in marriage.
Yeah.
So, and everybody gets hurt when you fight in a marriage.
So watch out for frustration.
Yes.
Watch out for false assumption.
Yes.
Watch out for fight.
Yes.
Watch out for fatigue, and watch out for fantasizing. So what we mean by watch out is there is a possibility to escalate from one to the other.
Yeah.
It's better if you do not escalate from one to the other.
Yeah.
But if you do, there is hope. You can still go back to fix it.
Yeah.
And the main thing is be willing to communicate and ask questions. Thank you so much for stopping by our YouTube channel. If you got something out of it, share it with somebody, like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Let us know where you are watching from so we can pray for you. We hope to see you back here.
Bye.
Bye.